He's not lonely because nobody invited him. He's lonely because somebody did. And he spent 3 days editing reasons why they didn't mean it. 3 days. 27 rereads of a single message. A spreadsheet of plausible deniability running in the back of his head, line by line, like a server log nobody asked for. And the worst part? He calls this self-awareness. You know that feeling when somebody actually reaches out, and instead of feeling found, you immediately start auditing the invitation for evidence that it was a typo? That's him. That's the whole case study right there. A 20-year-old kid sitting on a campus bench in broad daylight, hoodie up, phone tilted under the fabric to fight the glare, scrolling the same group chat thread for the 4th time today. Not reading it, just performing the act of reading it. Like a security guard checking the same monitor every 12 minutes to look busy. The shadow in the room with him. And yeah, there's always a shadow, even outside. Even at 1:15 p.m. on a Wednesday, is the version of himself that desperately wants to look up. The version that wants to nod back when someone nods at him. The version he buried under a hoodie and a dead app. Here's the cold open of the autopsy. He's not the victim of his loneliness. He's the architect, the contractor, the guy holding the permits. And the building is almost finished. The mask is simple. It's the mask of a kid who's just busy. Headphones half in, even when there's no music playing. Hoodie up, even when the sun is out. A closed bedroom door energy that he somehow carries with him outdoors, into a public square, into the middle of 2,000 other students walking past with their own little weather systems of small talk. He has weaponized the aesthetic of being unavailable, and then he wonders why nobody approaches him. That's the mask. Here's the reality. He hasn't refreshed anything. He hasn't typed anything. He hasn't decided anything. He's been sitting on that bench for 43 minutes pretending to be in the middle of something so important that interrupting him would be rude. But the app on his screen has been closed for 11 minutes. The typing bubble he keeps performing with his thumb is hitting a black screen. He is technically doing nothing. He is functionally working overtime. Because here's the sick math. Maintaining the illusion of being too busy to be approached is a full-time job. It takes constant micro-adjustments. The angle of the phone, the furrow of the brow, the half-eaten granola bar on the bench beside him. And yeah, that granola bar is a prop, not a snack. He took 2 bites 40 minutes ago and stopped. Because a person who is eating looks less alone than a person who is just sitting. A person who is eating is in the middle of a story. A person who is just sitting is the story. So he keeps it half-eaten, strategically, indefinitely, like a stage decoration in a play nobody bought tickets to. And then, the moment. A classmate from the group chat, same lecture, same Slack channel, same Tuesday study group he never shows up to. The kid is walking past, slowing down, head turning slightly, the social muscles already preloading the word, hey, and our subject lifts his phone an inch higher to his face, performs a typing bubble with his thumb, on a closed app, aimed at nobody. The classmate reads the signal. The classmate keeps walking. He just rejected someone who was about to choose him, and he'll tell himself, later tonight at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, that nobody chooses him. Read that again. He just rejected someone who was about to choose him, and he'll spend the rest of the week building a worldview around the idea that nobody chooses him. Both things are true. Both things happened inside the same 45 seconds, and he will only remember one of them. This is not mentally healthy. Let's just put that on the table, plainly. This is a kid building a cage out of his own posture and then calling the cage proof that the world is cold. The hypocrisy isn't loud. It never is with him. It's quiet. It's surgical. It's a kid who says he wants connection while actively engineering the conditions under which connection becomes impossible, and then graduating from his own engineering project with honors. Not gonna lie, and yeah, that's his dad's phrase, leaking through the bloodline like a software update he never asked for. But watching him operate is like watching someone install a firewall against the only people trying to send him a signal, and then complaining about the silence. So let's open him up. Let's look at the wiring. Pre-rejection. That's the sport. That's the only sport he's ever actually been good at. Pre-rejection is when you reject the invitation before the invitation gets a chance to reject you back. And the brilliant, sick part of the system is that a forfeit never goes on the record as a loss. He never lost the game. He just didn't show up. And in his head, those are two completely different stat lines. He's been running this place since middle school. Birthday party he didn't go to because they probably only invited him to be polite. Group project he sandbagged so they wouldn't expect him next semester. Girl in 10th grade who said hi to him in the hallway twice, and he convinced himself by hi number 3 that she was just being nice to the kid next to him. Every single one of those moments, and there are hundreds, got filed in a folder in the back of his head labeled evidence. Evidence that people don't really mean it. Evidence that warmth is a clerical error. Evidence that he was right to stay in his room. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. The folder didn't fill itself. He has been the one curating it, hand-picking the data, throwing out every counterexample like spam. His cynicism and, low-key, this is the ugliest reveal of the whole autopsy. His cynicism isn't a worldview. It's a billing system. Every invitation that comes in gets charged a tax of suspicion so high that accepting becomes financially impossible. Why would they want me there? What's the catch? Are they just being polite? Did somebody put them up to it? Each question, another 20% slapped onto the bill, until the cost of saying yes is so absurd that he gets to call himself broke instead of scared. He's not broke. He's just refusing to pay. And the dependencies this builds, the chains, they're so quiet you almost don't see them. The closed bedroom door at home, the dead group chat where he's a member but never a participant, the read receipts he leaves like little gravestones, the typing bubble he starts and deletes and starts and deletes until the other person assumes he's not coming and stops waiting. He calls this protecting his peace. It's not peace, it's just a smaller and smaller room. The classmate didn't walk past him because they didn't see him. Read that slowly. The classmate walked past him because he made eye contact with his phone first, on purpose, and the classmate read it as a "do not approach" sign that he carefully posted and laminated and bolted to his own forehead. He is not documenting his isolation, he is manufacturing it. In a small, well-lit basement workshop he refuses to admit exists, wearing safety goggles, following a blueprint, and the blueprint is in his own handwriting. That's the chain. He gets to be a victim of a world he is, every single day, quietly building. So here's where the autopsy hands in the bill. 3 exits from this bench, 3 doors, 3 completely different prices. And the sick part, the part that should make every listener uncomfortable, is that all 3 doors are unlocked. Have been, the whole time. He's been sitting in front of them for 43 minutes, pretending he's locked in. Door number 1, the cognitive door. He replaces the sentence, "They don't really want me there," with the sentence, "I don't know what they want, and that's the entire point." That's it. 1 sentence swap. Reads like nothing. Sounds like a TikTok affirmation. Except, for him, it's a demolition order. Because if he stops knowing what other people are thinking, he loses the only superpower his cynicism ever gave him, the ability to know the ending of the story before the story starts. That's the trade. He has to walk into every room from now on, not knowing if he's welcome. He has to send the text not knowing how it lands. He has to be a guy who shows up without a forecast. And for a kid who has spent 20 years building a predictive model of human disappointment, being unable to predict is not freedom, it's free fall. Cost of door 1. He has to surrender the entire intellectual fortress that's kept him safe. Door number 2. The behavioral door. He stands up. He walks 20 feet. He taps the classmate on the shoulder. He says one full sentence, out loud, with no irony loaded into the tone. Just, "Hey, you headed to lecture?" 6 words, maybe 7. Mechanically, it's nothing. A toddler could do it. Except door 2 isn't about the sentence. Door 2 is about the 4 seconds. The 4 seconds between the tap and the classmate's face reacting. In those 4 seconds, there is no group chat to retreat into, no read receipt to misinterpret, no typing bubble to hide behind, no hoodie deep enough, no phone screen bright enough to fake. Just a face, waiting for his face. Unedited, unfiltered, uncropped. And he has not been unedited in front of another human being in, he genuinely cannot remember. Middle school, maybe, before he learned that the cheapest way to never get hurt was to never get seen. Cost of door 2, 4 seconds of being completely, unbearably visible. No undo button, no draft folder. For a kid who lives in the draft folder, that's not 4 seconds. That's an eternity. Door number 3, the external reality door. This one's the worst. Save the worst for last. Door 3 says, he is not the only quiet kid in that group chat. Read that again, slowly. He is not the only one waiting. Somebody else is also drafting and deleting. Somebody else is also auditing the invitation. Somebody else is also sitting on a bench somewhere on this campus right now, scrolling the same thread, performing the same typing bubble on the same closed app, telling themselves the same story about how nobody really wants them there. And his refusal to go first, his precious, sophisticated, intellectually superior refusal, is part of the silence he keeps blaming everyone else for. He is not the victim of the group chat. He is a co-author of the group chat's silence. Cost of door 3. He can't be the victim of a system he helped build. He has to retire the entire identity. The "nobody chooses me" narrative, gone. The cynical observer pose, gone. The whole brand, gone. 3 doors, 3 prices, 0 of them free. And the 2 p.m. bell pings. He stands up, slowly, leaves the granola bar on the bench like evidence at a crime scene nobody's going to investigate. The classmate is already 10 steps ahead, hoodie strings swinging, completely unaware that they were just door number 2 in someone's private autopsy. 3 doors stacking up behind his ribs. Door 1, door 2, door 3. All unlocked, all terrifying. He doesn't pick one. He doesn't refuse one. He just walks at exactly the speed that guarantees he never has to choose. Not yes, not no, just pending. The math isn't mathing. It never was. The door is unlocked. The cursor is still blinking. The invitation is still somehow technically open. Whose name are you not saying out loud today?